Hello, Dr. Richter here with a special edition of what it means to actually eat proper fiber. And it is another dire situation that humans have evolved into, which is about 30 times less or more of fiber that we consumed when we grew up as hunters and gatherers, meaning pre-agricultural. We have only started farming 15,000 years ago, and since then, our intake of fiber, which is direly required for our gut health, has declined very, very steeply. And I don't have to tell you that modern food and industrialization has created a very sterile food, but what most people don't think about is really how little fiber it contains, which is a very, very important nutrient to feed our gut and our healthy gut population. So if you eat one small apple, a banana, a carrot, and a handful of veggies, which isn't even average for most people. That's about 8 to 10 grams, and that is not very much. Again, that is far short of the 40 grams that we used to contain. And this is kind of the situation. Even in 1850, we still used to ingest massive amounts of fiber. This doesn't even reflect what we used to eat when we were hunters and gatherers. And it has steadily declined, especially mid-century 1950, when industrialization really took over for food. And at the same time, of course, our omega-6 inflammatory intake has skyrocketed. So two very opposing processes that create leaky gut galore. And our epithelial tight junctions in our gut are failing by the minute. You can eat as much probiotics as you want. If you don't feed them, they will not do their job. So this is an article of showing how complicated it actually was to be a hunter and gatherer and how much seasonal thinking was involved. And the reason I'm showing you this is that meat was actually not a big portion of our diet. It was a lot of fiber, mainly because, it's hunters and gatherers, and we spend a lot of more time gathering than actually hunting. And in reality, about 100 square kilometers are needed to sustain one human from hunting. So it's a very, very difficult lifestyle. And even just 220 years ago, our Native American population here in the Northwest or anywhere in the US, Northern America, could not sustain their hunters and gatherers lifestyle. They started trading with each other. Coastal tribes traded dried salmon with inland tribes trading dried bison, but that is just not enough. Surviving on dried cherries, you name it, is impossible. So, yeah, the Native American population started growing corn to survive. And yeah, I mean, that's literally why we started farming because there isn't enough land to sustain our lifestyle. But yet, that's how we were designed. We were designed to consume a very, very fiber-rich diet and omega-3 rich, of course, or meaning opposite terms, a very omega-6 poor diet. So all of that contributes to our massive modern inflammation and our very high 30 to 1 inflammatory index. So why not make our lives a lot easier and consume a product that is completely natural because simply you cannot eat enough fiber in your day. Let me explain what that actually means. So gut health means fighting leaky gut. The fibers in our Xenobiotic Plus completely natural product ingredients stimulates the 100 trillion bacteria in our colon, and these need to be healthy probiotics, down regulating immunity. And these good bacteria require dietary fibers as their fuel. They don't like sugar, and they need resistant starch. I will explain that in a second here. And basically, it's an important bodily function that we have lost to regulate our immune system. We know about the gut health, gut brain axis, and how this is all linked to better mood, energy levels, and less stress in our life. So beta glucans are a big component of our xenobiotic, and that is basically kind of like cellulose. You can't eat that, you can't digest that, and you can't get energy out of it because there's a wrong orientation within the sugar that we can't digest. We don't have those enzymes. You have to be a ruminant to do that. So they're non-digestible. So resistant starch means resistant to us, but not resistant to the intestinal flora. And that is the big difference here. Foods that are rich in beta glucans are oats, barley, and basically um, some mushrooms. And these have traditionally been consumed in large amounts. However, they are not easily to be digested. They cause a lot of bloating, and grains are inflammatory. So all of that is basically counterproductive, and it's not really going to help you. So beta glucans are not digestible. They don't raise your blood glucose directly, and they actually slow the absorption of sugars, and they feed the bacteria, the probiotics that really matter, that figured out how to down-regulate inflammation. And they also interact with some immune receptors and regulate immune modulation together with omega-3. So here's an evolutionary angle. The human digestive system, as I said, evolved with beta glucans, and that is a remarkable symbiosis. We basically eat those products, used to eat them to feed our microbes in symbiosis. And in return, these gut flora provide a stable habitat and a continuous flow of substrates. If you think your large intestine is not a nutritional organ, you are mistaken. There's a lot that happens in the large intestine other than just absorbing water. So you do need to feed those bacteria. And when you stop eating beta fibers, you are essentially starving that part of your body that was meant to digest them, your microbiome. So yeah, we used to eat this, now we discard that fruit. It's basically not healthy to us, question mark. No, it's very healthy to us. We didn't think twice about eating that when I grew up. Still tastes delicious, and this fungus on the pears here contains beta glucans. So again, here's a picture of, what we're missing is the beta bond glucose linked non-digestible, and that ends up in our large intestine, feeding the flora, making short-chain fatty acids, among many other things, down regulating inflammation. So yeah, what is naturally resistant starch otherwise? Raw granules with a crystalline structure. Typically, it's very hard to digest unless you're a ruminant. So that's why we developed cooking, and the open fire not only has allowed us to ingest massive amounts of protein, but also massive amounts of more starch. Who can eat raw potatoes and green bananas? I don't think so. That's pretty dangerous if you ate that. That's why a lot of products are made now as a commercial starch, resistant starch from these products. Um, they're processed, but they're still natural, and they're purified, so we can easier ingest them and make our life a lot easier. So you can definitely also cook resistant starch to make it a little more easy to digest, but it's not really the same thing. Um, when you let potatoes cool down and reheat them, you're actually doing yourself a favor. That is a good food for your colon. That's probably why I love potato salad so much. If you left out the inflammatory mayonnaise that has loads of omega-6 in them and only use lard and butter. So yeah, that is a way of doing this. Starchy foods cooked with oil and butter also contribute to a more difficult resistance digestion. And all in all, you really need resistant starch. This isn't going to fix the problem. So why not make your life much easier? Um, Instead of eating raw potatoes and green bananas, you could just ingest a scoop of xenobiotic, make it safe, make it potent, and in the end, feed your gut properly, feed your probiotics properly. And the test will show this. We have a brand new gut health test together with our omega-3 balance test. You will be able to correlate omega-3 and your gut health with leaky gut outcomes and have a much, much happier, healthier gut, leading to a much, much healthier immune system. So I hope this all helped. And if you have any questions, contact NatureWorks, omega3health.us, omega3health.us.